This an all-out blitz, real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but ID gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition, yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Matthew Briggs. We got a special guest, but before I introduce him, let me introduce my amazing trio. As always, my A1 since day one, Mr. Crenshaw. Say what's up to the folks.
What it do? What it do?
And guys, our other little brother, but older brother at the same time, we got Mr. Brown, Chubby Bear, BT.
What's going on, guys?
And guys, if you're a Texan fan from Houston, you know this guy. We got the Houston legend in the building himself, Mr. Lil Keke. What's going on, man?
What's good? What's good? How we doing?
Doing great, man. You're one of the first ones that came on the podcast, so we got to shout you out. Thank you for helping us blow up the way we are, So thank you for coming on.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me back.
Before we jump into why we're here, I do want to say rest in heaven to another legend, Miss Tina Turner. We lost her today. So she's one of the greats. So thoughts and prayers to her family. That's needed. Well, let's kick it off while we're here. Before we kick it a little Texans, Keke, let me ask you, what do you think about this whole new third quarterback rule where they can keep a quarterback for the emergency rule? What do you think about that?
I ain't shocked. All the new things that's going on, the extra game, every year they kind of implement more, to get some more, whatever they got to do, man, to get the more money, the TV money, the extra game. So now we seeing I think this based on trying to do the safety, how safe they trying to be and the different things that's happening, they're going to start implementing a lot of different new rules in it, man. As long as we can stick to football and play football, I don't really have time to be worried about these.
No doubt. No doubt. BT, what about you? What do you think?
I think this rule definitely needed to happen. We saw what happened with the 49ers last year. Christian McCaffrey was prepping to take snaps at quarterback. So the thing is, teams could obviously put a third quarterback, but they would have to sacrifice a roster spot. Now they don't have to sacrifice that roster spot, so there will be a third quarterback available. This is better for fans too, because fans don't want to watch a game with two quarterbacks going down and having a running back throwing a ball, right? Like no one wants to watch that.
Had they got to the point where they was only letting you carry two quarterbacks?
Well, the thing is that you could carry more, but you would have to take up a roster spot. So that means you either have to give up, whatever, a receiver, a tight end, like you have to give up somebody. So no teams were actually putting a third quarterback because obviously they wanted to keep their personnel on. So that's why, like the 49ers, like if you've heard a lot of what the 49ers, not just fans, but players say, they are really upset because they believe they were going to go to the Super Bowl if Purdy didn't hurt his elbow the way he did. And so they basically had all their quarterbacks hurt. And that's why Christian McCaffrey was about to be quarterback, but they said, all right, don't throw, just hand it off. And then so they were limited. When you can't pass a football, how can you win a game? So this rule basically lets teams, without sacrificing a roster spot, keep a quarterback there, and you won't have, or you shouldn't have, games like what we saw with the 49ers where everyone knew the game was going the quarterback. So this is good for the fans. It's good for the players. This is a good rule.
Yeah. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with VT. It's a good rule, but I think they should let all the players dress out. You know how they have those guys on the sideline just have everybody dress out, and that'll keep a lot of confusion down. But I mean, if two quarterbacks get hurt in the game, that's just unfortunate. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm like it's
that's just
you know
unfortunate.
it's so many. I just think they just add each year they tweaking this more game as the game is very violent, it's very dangerous, and my whole thing is man, hey, what we seen with Christian McCaffrey in it, man, that's football. It happens. You know what I'm saying? Like it we've
Next
seen
man
worse.
up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, we it happens in the game of football. It happens, different things happen. But if they're gonna implement it, great. I just think, man, that they be so caught into the narratives of what they want to do with money and games, and does doing that because of the Christian McCaffrey thing? Are you doing that because you really wanted to change and help the game, or you just know you know them 49ers would have been more money, that would have been great. You don't want that to happen no more because at the end of the
Right.
day, if this they're not going to change that rule in college for that. If it happens, man, if you go in a game and you playing a physical game and both of your quarterbacks get hurt, hey man, if you go in the game and it ain't lightning and it starts flooding, the game got element. That's the game. It was never in the rule. So I get it, but are you doing it to push the narrative to make the game better, or is this still another money? They love the money. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
That's like
They love the money. So, they already know, man, they wanted those 49ers in that they hey. So
yeah.
I get it. Maybe we'll get both sides. It's good for the quarterback, but at the end of the day, man, football is football.
Yes, sir. Well, let's jump into the Texans talk. Um, we had the hiring of D'Amico Ryans, um, Bun B, and Trader's Truth was there. What do you think of this hire? Did you love it? Were you a fan of this move?
Um, This is what I felt. I felt that the Texans, we needed a boost of young energy, a voice that like most of the time, man. When you're in a losing situation, you start to lose, and you're getting the draft picks, upper draft picks every year. The first thing they want to do is that's why I love Lovey and all that. But the first thing they want to do to fix the team is bring in the disciplinarians. Let's get the guys together. Let's take care of the young. Let's show them how to play and be pros. I don't know if that's always the approach. Sometimes you need that voice, that energy, that those young, you bringing in young caliber players, that's gonna get the juices and the energy flowing. Like, we from the era of let's go get Jeff Fisher and let's go get Wade Phillips and the more of the fatherly figure coaches to do it. So my whole thing is the new up and coming coordinators with not so much to lose on their pedigree, up and coming, man. He doing what he doing, he making his strides
Oh
to
yeah.
get the attention span to and him coming in losing a few games and here and there, it's not the same as when you go get a Mike McCarthy or somebody. See, when you go get a Mike McCarthy and he get the losing, oh, Mike, he's doing what he used to do and he ain't doing. It's kind of different, man. So I just felt like the organization needed to take the fatherly vibe off of it and bring in the exuberance and young and let's change the music in the locker room a little bit and let's get it out here, and when we get the sacks, let's get the dancing a little bit, let's get it popping a little bit,
Let's bring
and
the
that
fans
new
back. Right. Right.
so we can bring some different fans, man, instead of coming in and sitting down and eating the burger. We need to be standing up a little bit. You need to get it. So I liked it to hire, especially with bringing in new younger players. Let's see if they can vibe, man. And 5 and 6 and 7 wins is not as bad with these younger coaches as it is when you bring it in.
A Mike
Yeah,
McCarthy. Right.
and
Right.
these
Right.
types of coaches that you expect. So I liked it. I really did, man.
Yeah. Same. I like what you're saying because it's like a culture change. Like, Lovey brought the culture back somewhat, but
Uh-huh.
D'Amico just empowered it even more. It's the whole it's a team, a captain move.
Yeah.
You still got these young bucks calling him a captain. Like back in the day when he was playing. So it's just a culture. What we need from the whole Deshaun Watson thing.
Yeah.
We need a complete 180. I think that's what D'Amico's going to bring to
Now
the
I
house.
am with this, not to interrupt to make sure they go. I
No,
am with this. I do be thinking that the coaches like D'Amico. Now I'm all for you going, like for instance, I made the example like the young Sean McVay. I'm down with you going to go get the Wade Phillipses and all them to show you the ropes of how to coach in the fourth quarter and how to close a practice. And they be needing that structure, but the voice and the new energy, I think, like a young, like I love the Sean McVay move when he went to the Rams. Real young, real fiery, and I'm gonna go get Wade Phillips, or I'm gonna go get one of these, a more veteran coach to help me. Because like when I like different teams, when you look at a young team like a Robert Saleh, he's coaching hard, he's coaching the defense, but where they were losing at, when you look at a team like the Jets with their great defense, clock management and different things like that the older coaches do know. So I think it should be a little bit both for the mix. So I hope you come out great.
So thank you for bringing that up, because here's a perfect question for you. There's rumors of Gary Kubiak coming back and kind of being like a special advisor. Would you be against that?
I wouldn't be against that. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Hey man, sometimes I think that, like I say, it takes you a minute before you know how to. Hey, listen, man, you'd be shocked at how many of these young coaches look at the Hackett's, the Salehs, great coordinators coming from where they're going to. But when they got that head job, making those crucial decisions, time, clock management, this here, kicking a field goal when you shouldn't, going for two when you shouldn't. Sometimes those Gary Kubiaks and all those, they kind of been through those moments. I think that the younger ones should have the voice and the overall say-so of the team, but I wouldn't be against the Gary Kubiak thing at all.
Yeah, you're perfect. Like after the game, you say, hey, that 3rd and 2, you should have went for it on 4th. Right there, you said it right. I get it. I agree with you 110%.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Key, we know that you went to the draft party. Tell us about the experience, man. Me and Crenshaw was up here in Kansas City at the draft live. It was pretty cool experience to witness. And BT sadly was sick, so he couldn't join us. But how was it down there in Houston? Was it lit? Was it fun?
Listen. I'm not a person like that. It ain't a thing with me like better late than never. I loved it. And what I mean by that, integrating the city, different parts of the city, the fans, bringing back me, Bun, Slim. We came in, the cheerleaders. We had the board, just getting everybody excited about wanting to come see the Texans. Hey, man, most of the time, you already know when you got that number 1, 2 draft pick, it ain't really time to go see no games. It's it's been to be a bunch of L's going on, man. We know this here. But the excitement that anytime you got somebody prepared to ride through them L's, that's when you know it's good. And the energy that was there is like, we don't care where we starting from. Let's get rolling. But to be honest, man, I think that, man, the Texans, they made great additions as far as trying to mix a little veteran, presences with this here. So the energy at the draft was different and great, man. Because to be honest, man, like we do stuff for the Rockets, Paul with them, they do stuff for the Astros. We never really got a chance to be a part of doing it for the Texans and doing it, man. So it was a great experience, man. And it made me, hey, man, listen,
a culture change, right? It's a different culture time.
We got to see all the draft. And listen, to see the Texans do a little gambling. And hey, man, when we heard the Texans was going up and getting that other pick, man, I was like, man, wait a minute, man. Man, we know the Texans ain't finna get ready to do this here. So the excitement in the building, hey man, and you know what that means. Hey, you jumping off the porch, you spending some capital, you taking some chances in the organization. So we better be over here rallying at the draft, because if it don't work out, we gonna be in big trouble. We mortgaging the future over here at the draft party right now. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was a great feeling. I think that's what I'm saying. Starting it also, I hope that what I do hope is at least give D'Amico, guarantee him 2.5 years. You hear what I said? Half. Now listen, man. If you're in the middle of that half and number 3 and get ready to go to number 3, hey man, we might quick to sit down, but at least give him his whole 3 years so we can get it, man. It's hard coaching those young teams when you you're not really finna have a chance to, be there.
I look. This is a guy I wouldn't mind keeping his whole contract. Like just give him the experience. Kyle Shanahan, his mentor, the first 3 years it was losing seasons. And that fourth year is when he, so it takes time. So I agree with you. Give him some time.
And he's a Texan, man. He's a Texan. He feels good about what he's doing. That was another good thing at the draft party. We was rallying around somebody that we really feel, hey man, he actually one of us. He's actually one of us. He know the culture, he know these people, so that was great.
I think Crenshaw probably knows the answer to this one. I think his wife is actually from Houston, correct, Crenshaw?
Yeah, Fifth Ward.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, man, it's going our way, man. It's meant to be.
Right. all the powers are, all the stars are
lining. Man, it's meant to be.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm excited. So you spoke of the Texans jumping up to number 2 to get Will Anderson. You kind of explained a little bit, but man, were you hyped when they jumped to 3 to get Will Anderson and take? I mean, we got our quarterback what we needed, right? And then, like you said, be aggressive and
listen. I was kind of confused at first because I was like, we was getting the vibe of that they wanted to get Will Anderson, right? That they was gonna not do the quarterback and get Will Anderson. So for me, if you're gonna do that, I wanted to trade out and get more picks if we're gonna go defense again. Because I think if we're not gonna get this quarterback, but once we pick the quarterback and we got it, I'm like, hey man, it's a gamble. You know what you do, man. Listen, to move from where you at 12, where we at 12?
Yeah, it was 12-3.
Do you know what it take man? Do you know what it take to do that?
I mean, it took a lot. It took our.
It's gotta be the guy. But everybody was excited, man. I think, man, that I've of course, everybody wanted. I mean, Bryce would be the number 1 pick, but I always said that I felt like that Stroud had the body. You know what I'm saying? He had the thicker body, he had the bigger body, and he probably is going to have the game that's going to fit around a defensive-minded quarterback. I mean, coach. We're not going to have to ask him to do as much, put as much, let's build a defense. And so to get both of them, if they turn into Pro Bowlers, it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? And not even I think that Will Anderson may get a shot to probably be a Pro Bowler for Stroud will. You know what I'm saying? If it goes right. So I think it's a gamble. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a great player, but it's a lot. Would I would have did it if it was vice versa around? Probably not. But since they did it that way, we needed both. I tell you this here, man. You can't never underestimate the lack of having a star. You know what I'm saying? Like
on both sides, on both sides.
Hey man, I'm not talking about a good player. I'm talking about a star for multiple reasons. Fans in the seats, all types of things, man. Energy, vibe, everything. So if Will Anderson is a star, which we think he should be, it's worth it.
Oh, for sure.
Can I ask a quick question here about Will Anderson and CJ Stroud? So have you seen any of their press conferences? Because I'm curious what you think about their character, because I think these are 2 pretty awesome kids.
Listen, man, I got sons, I got sons, play football, everything. And man, let me tell you, I'm not just saying this. A lot of these youngsters got a lot better character than I would say draft classes and classes before and players before. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because a lot of these kids now are starting to come from better families. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't the time no more where, it's just mom and dad's been missing for 30 years. No. Dad is in there now. You know what I'm saying?
2-parent household.
In there now. Grandma's in there now. Now, I'm coming from the era, it's going to be mom in there, man. It's going, and I just think that they're great kids because now they're coming from character places, man. These kids are going to school. They not going to these schools they coming from, the environments that they coming from. I almost look at it like AAU now. These 7-on-7, the camps, they not coming from situations of too many. Here, there, we getting the character flaw. But for them two, man, they were able to look at that camera. They were able to articulate. They were able to talk. And you could tell the environment that they already coming from. So, hey, man, that's a very big plus. And they both look coachable.
Oh, yeah, most
Very,
definitely.
Coachable, which is very, very important at that particular, them two picks. And then you got to understand, man, hey, man, you already know, man, coming from Nick Saban, you know what it's been down there, man. You know, it's all it's all discipline that way. You know what I'm saying?
And Bill O'Brien, right, yeah.
Same thing. Bill O'Brien is disciplined that way. So I think, man, we got two good ones. And at the end of the day, man, listen, they starting, and I think we should have time. I think Davis Mill give him time. CJ, take the job.
That's
win
what we've
it.
been saying. Yeah, that's what we're
Win it in camp.
Yep.
Hey, I don't care nothing. Hey, man, you got plenty of time. We ain't got to throw you to the dogs. You know, at the end of the day, Davis Mills is serviceable enough to get in here, still do what he need to do until you're ready, unless you come in here and just blow us away. Now, we ready for you to play. Hey, we ready. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we ain't got to turn you upside down, man.
Right.
That fast. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, sir.
I think, man, but overall, draft, vibe, energy for a long time, I think the Texans is we had. And let me tell you something. I like that little receiver guy too.
Tendell, yes, sir.
Yeah. And the one that we getting back that didn't get to play.
Mechie, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, man, we got something. We got something. We headed that way. So even if we wasn't, man, I feel that I'm excited. I can't wait to get there. I'll tell you that there.
Yeah, man, I love that you brought the way that they're raised and the way that they present themselves. CJ kind of told us a little bit in some interviews of him being battle tested. And I like, because a lot of people who went through somewhat CJ did, they use that as an excuse to be, wild and out and just whatever they want to do. But CJ made him where he wants to be better, where he strives to be better. And that's what you need in a leader, right? I mean, some guy that wants to be, no matter what, he must be better. So I think him being that battle tested, ready to go is the theme of this year, right? Everything this year we've been battle tested, from Deshaun Watson to this year we've been battle tested. Yeah, so I think it's ready to rock and roll. So
I just want to add, like, his press conference. He said he's scarred and battle tested, and he really is. Like, many people don't know this, but he was almost homeless multiple times. And at Ohio State, you had dudes like JSN's father and their parents helping him, like buying certain equipment and clothes and stuff like that. So they were in a hard spot, and he tells a story that they brought him in, but they brought Quinn Ewers to that and didn't tell him until the day where they brought Quinn Ewers. So he was about to lose his job, his starting role there. And so, basically, if you listen to a lot of things that he had to go through, particularly at Ohio State, and obviously before, with his father and all that stuff, but just if you think about Ohio State, man, when he says in the press conference of how he scarred and battle tested and how he put his faith in God and how he got here, you get goosebumps.
I needed to hear that. That's great.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, when he ended that press conference by saying that, football isn't what he was meant to be put on earth. Like it's not just hobby, it's his passion, but his real reason for being on earth is to help people. And I got to tell you, a kid that is literally half my age saying that sounds that mature and that adult is amazing. I literally got goosebumps listening to that press conference.
Great.
Well, Key, we know you're a busy man, so we'll wrap it up here soon. But before we do, we want to ask you a couple questions. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
All right. All right, man. I'll kick it off. You know, a lot of people don't know the culture around Houston food. It, I believe the culinary of Houston doesn't get the love that it deserves. I'm a big culinary guy. I'm a chef. I love to cook. I definitely love to eat. So, Keke, tell me what's your favorite meal or food, anything of Houston?
I'm a big food connoisseur here. I love to cook. I love to eat. So it just depends on what I'm gonna do. I'm a nightlife steak guy. I'm a midday brunch restaurant guy. I'm a breakfast restaurant guy. I eat out a lot. I cook a lot. So it's all about what you want with me. You know what I'm saying?
So,
Like
what's your favorite steakhouse there in Houston?
my favorite steakhouse is Ruth Chris for sure.
Ooh,
Now
all
Ooh,
right.
hell yeah.
that's my favorite. Now I eat at everyone. Steak 48, Maestro's, Perry's, the Warwick. I go to any. I'm a high. I love high level steak. I mean, high expensive steak restaurant. That's how I like to treat myself. But my favorite cut into seasoned steak that I love is Ruth Chris, hands down.
I'm a saltgrass guy,
I'm a
but
saltgrass guy too. I'm a salt. And what's crazy is I got different likes of different cuts that I may
mm,
eat over here. At saltgrass, I love the Texas T-bone. You know what I'm saying? I love to peel that off of that. So I'm a steak guy. Now in the daytime, man, just a great place that's kind of not expensive and just some good food. I like to go to Gracie's.
oh,
Gracie's is
okay,
that's a
yeah.
cool little food. That's a cool flight. Then of course, I could do the Breakfast Club in the morning. I could do La Peeps. I can do that kind of breakfast in the morning. I can do my own. Then I got different trucks that I deal with. Light work barbecue. If I'm just going to a truck, I might go to Killings in Pearland. So I got they rub that I love on their ribs. Then I love Burns. They got a special beans and
Hmm.
potato salad that they do. Hey man, I'm a foodie. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes, sir.
I'm all day, man. I can eat it this way, man. You can catch me eating some French chicken early in the daytime, and then later on you can catch me with a 12-ounce bone-in ribeye or a fillet or something. So I can mix it up all day. But I love little spots like I said, like Gracie's, because I can go in there and get a roasted chicken or I can get a
Whatever
great
you
salad,
like, right?
a
Yeah,
salad that I want. It's kind of American and kind of, so I love little spots like that.
yeah. So, well, here's the real question for you. We already know Crenshaw's answer. How do you take your steak?
I'm not telling. I'm not telling. Now, let me tell you. It depends on where. It depends on where I'm at and how you make it. Because most of my steak places, I know how they're gonna make my steak. Now, if I'm at Saltgrass and I'm getting a big giant, I call that a tough steak because the cut of it, then I may tell them to do it well done or something because I need it really cooked. Now, if I'm at, you know, you know,
Ruth
so I
Chris
mean,
or something.
Chris or something, I may go medium well, and I love to use this word, medium well plus. That's one of my words right there. Now I ain't got it where I can just go medium. I ain't ready yet. I ain't ready yet. I ain't medium ready yet.
Okay, so you're somewhat on the fence with Crenshaw. Crenshaw like his steak beef jerky, so we
Oh,
get
what
it.
you, what you like? Well done.
Oh,
Crenshaw,
all the time. Well done. That's the only way to eat
I'm
it,
okay.
man.
Listen,
With some
I'm
garlic
on.
butter.
Let me tell you something. Me and you would sit down and eat well done to death. I'm done. I'm done with it. Now, when I get in front of everybody else and I'm trying to act like I'm really big, give it to me medium well plus. But you know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I'm saying, hey, give me that thing well done.
I
Yeah.
like my moon off the farmland, slap it on the grill, couple seconds, give it back to me.
Ooh, look, see, I
Medium
ain't
rare is
made
the
it
way
to
to go,
see.
man.
I ain't made it to him yet. I
Yeah.
ain't made it to him yet. But
In my opinion, if you need steak sauce, it's not a steak. Like
now, let me tell you something. I'm a steak eater. What's crazy is in my restaurants, I'm gonna ask them now. If you don't have my A1, I don't want it. In the restaurants, I'm gonna mess around. But at home, I make a lot of steak, and I don't need it. I don't mess with it at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Crenshaw, I kick out. What question you got for Mr. Key?
Well, all right. So you got the 25 Summers coming out this week.
Yeah.
I want to know, how did the cipher come up? And you are definitely richer than the last time we seen you.
Man, what I try to do was man, I'm always trying to be a big advocate of doing stuff for the state, for the city. And one of the main things I try to do is being an OG and still doing this. What keeps me more my relevance is always reaching out to the youngsters, making sure that I keep them aboard. So last year when I dropped Legend, we I did a big record with me, Slim, Zero, and Sauce Walker. Done huge. We from Texas. So I was like, man, what I'm gonna do this time? What I'm gonna do? So I was like, man, you know what? I want to do a cipher, man, and I want to mix it with the youngsters and the OGs. But instead of in the city, I'm gonna try to go to just my city. I'm gonna try to go to different cities. I'm gonna go to San Antonio, get Kyle Lee. I'm gonna go to Waco, I'm gonna go get Hot Boy West, Gucci Man, New Orleans. Get Trap Boy out of Dallas, him and Big Tuck, and I'm gonna go to Bo Money and get Jade, Peso, mix it up, bring in Power Wow, Big, and I just jammed it up, and I shot everybody a video, and instead of making everybody show up at one time, I shot them all individually, each person. So it just looks like it coming on back to back. So that was the plan behind that, man, to just kind of show the different talents of the people in the state. You know, because I got everybody on the album, Slim them and all them there on the album, but I never get to really showcase with the Kyle Lees and the different people that's represented. Hey, man, and each city came out. San Antonio came out big. We got Peso, Galveston, and Jade from Bo Money, Hot Boy West in Dallas. I shot Trap Boy Freddy in Dallas. So came out great, man. We dropping it tomorrow night on the 25th, 25 Summers on the 25th at 11. The cipher coming out with the album at the same time.
Oh man, I can't wait. Yeah, I instantly downloaded the Legend album when it came out, so I gotta be doing that.
Thank you, man. This is gonna be nice. This is a vibe. If you're going out this weekend, you're eating you some barbecue, you're putting you on some clothes, and you're washing your car. If you're letting your top down, this is your tape right here. This is your album. This is the one for you right here.
All right, BT, what do you got for Mr. Don Key?
Yeah, I want to know, like, if you could tell me when you found out that you wanted to be a rapper, like, as a kid, like the youngest memory where you're like, this is what I want to do.
Man, listen, I didn't know just if I wanted to be a rapper, but I always knew I was musically inclined. Like, I was the kid trying to write all the songs down. Like, I'm listening to it, I'm writing it down. But they used to be songs like Computer Love and all that. They wouldn't rap. So I was always in it. And then when I got about 12 or 13, like 7th, 8th grade, I used to want to be the guy who can say all the raps at school. See, I was the Peter Piper, Pick Pepper, the Run Rock Rhyme. See, I was that guy. Yeah. All the way to it transformed into it being me. See, I was the lunchroom guy. They beating on the table. Everybody coming over. I was that guy. Man, listen. The album is called 25 Summers, but this is actually my 30th summer. I've been doing this since 17. My first screw tape was in 1993. Yes, my screw tape, the one that got me on and people handed up, that was in 1993. I was 17 years old. This is 25 Summers. Just sound better. Got a better ring to it. 25 Summers.
Makes you feel younger too, right?
But it's really like my 30th year, man. From 1993 to 2023. So I've been kind of musically inclined, and I've just been blessed to be able to still maintain not just the skill level, the drive. That's what it be about, man. To still have the drive to want to get it done, man. So since a kid, man, 13, 14, I knew I was going to do it.
All right.
I got one more question for you.
Go ahead.
A lot of people Crenshaw and my age, we know the legends like yourself, Lil O, Hawk, SPM. why don't you tell some of these guys that, especially that don't know Texas rap, some of the young bucks that are coming up. Like I was a big fan of Mo3 before he sadly lost his life. So what's some of the guys from Texas that you're loving that some that you already mentioned or some that we don't know yet?
That's rolling right now.
Yes, sir. Or rolling right now, or that's on the upcoming.
Man, for me, man, like it's like this. We're Man, Texas is almost damn near its own genre, man. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Like so, man, we can turn one of our people that we love, and you might not know a hell a damn thing about it, and we love them to death. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And they big and they very big. So I'm liking from a young standpoint, I love everything that has to do with like the big extra plugs and everything that's happening that way. Cause I watch everything, even from what we do down here. I love everything. That's why I go get them. Like one of my favorites is DJ Chose. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? DJ Chose, he's on the album. DJ XO. I love the producers, man. The thing what we get caught up in sometimes is we're so blessed to be from Texas.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
sir. Yes,
Man,
sir.
Texas will pay you, man. Are you listening to me? They will pay you if you know what you're doing. So sometimes, man, a lot of people don't get to be in love with as much as our stars as I would want them to be. Everybody ain't gonna get to be Megan or Travis or stuff. But the game is so good to us, and it makes us have such a great living. I be so happy when I see anything, man. We got so many people that come from here that being doing so great because the independent game is so great to us. You know what I'm saying? It's so great to us. So the Maxo Creams and the sauce, man, I love Sauce Walker, the whole
Ooh,
TXF. I keep them. I got records with them, man. It's all the way from the old school, man. You know where I'm coming from doing? I'm coming from listening to Zero's new album. I had to go hear his new album. I'm coming to do it. My album's coming out tomorrow. So, man, I still do. I got Big Pokey all over the album. I got Paul Wall over the album. Peso. Who
yeah,
else?
man. I sadly live up here in Kansas City, and I had a guy at work a couple of weeks ago. Like, hey, man, have you heard this new Texas rapper? He's amazing. I was like, oh yeah, what's his name? He goes Zero. I was like, bro, get come on, bro. Like, really? Come on,
Hey,
man.
that happens, man. That happens, man.
Uh,
Hey, listen, I be go do interviews and people be asking me that I just come out a year ago. I be hitting them with, yeah, man, yeah. This is great,
uh,
man. Love it. So, man, listen, I always tell you this, like I told y'all the last time. Hey, man, we're all one of the reasons that we make it because we're always appreciative of these type of opportunities.
yes, sir.
Man, you can be talking to anybody. Man, man, I wasn't gonna miss it for the world. Man, let me get over here and talk some sports with these boys. This is what I do, you know what I'm saying? So I'm always appreciative and grateful when y'all inviting us on and having, man. Y'all call me to
We
talk
love it.
sports. We're gonna do it in the season too, because we're gonna have to go over the review. We're gonna give them at least, we're gonna check in.
Tell me what day you want on. We'll make the schedule. What
We're
you
gonna
want?
check in with the Texans. We're gonna check in 6 games in.
All
Okay.
right.
You know, 6 games in. That's gonna kind of tell us, where we finna get ready to go. You know what I'm saying? By that time, it's CJ time by that time.
Most definitely.
Hey, man, let's get it rocking. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna check in with you guys, man. I really appreciate y'all having me, man. And anything y'all ever need, man, just get to me. I got you.
All right. Hey,
Uh,
Chris, I got
um,
one more question. Go
yeah,
ahead,
I
Chris.
got one.
got
I know you mentioned DJ Chose. Can you talk, if you can, talk about their song "Phones in Heaven"? Can you talk about that, or it's too early?
Now I can talk about it.
Okay, talk about it for a little bit.
Well, man, based on the music that Chose make, you would think, he got these songs and thick and these girls, he know how to cater to what I do. He hasn't missed one of my albums in probably the last 4 or 5. So we got down to the end, man. He calling. I'm ready to go. I got something for you. I've been thinking about. He's always he's gonna ask me, send me what I got, and he's gonna always cater to what I'm doing or cater to my mode that I'm in. So with my mom, my mom passed away New Year's Day. His mom passed away last year. My mom passed away New Year's Day. So when he called me with this one, he caught me off guard with it. And it was such a great concept because it's always different. He always thinking. So he calls me and tell me, hey man, I got a song it was for my mom, but it's for us, man. It's for your mom. And I'm like, I wonder where he went. And for me to hear it, and it's like they got phones in heaven. Like we making a call to heaven on the telephone. And man, it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And tomorrow we having a listening party private. I don't know who's listening, but we having a private, and he's a beat that we're gonna play it. So it was a right on time song. He's gonna make the album regardless every year, but for it to be that song in this moment at this time,
right.
it was
It's
probably
all
one of the best ones. I don't even know how we're gonna we shoot a video to every song. I ain't been able to even think of this one yet. You know what I'm saying? I ain't been able to put it together yet, but we're gonna do it, man. So that's a and what's so crazy, let me tell you this before I go. It was the last song. It's the last song I did. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Save the best for last, right?
Yeah, for the part one, man, because we're gonna do a deluxe. I'm gonna come out with a deluxe some month, but for this part, the last song was the last song, and I was almost through, so it came out great.
All right. Well, man, thank you again, Lil Keke. We appreciate it, bro. Like I said at the beginning, you helped us get where we're at. So
Thank you.
We couldn't do this without you.
Y'all doing a great job. Man. Salute to y'all.
Man, why don't you tell you already mentioned you got your new album tomorrow, 25 Years of Summer. Tell us where we can find you on social media and where we can check you out.
Don Key 713 on the Instagram. That's my big platform where I kind of launch everything for Don Key 713, DONKE 713, and everything else just Lil Keke. TikTok, Facebook, everything just Lil Keke. Self-made 713 for the new merch. I'm gonna have to get y'all some of the new Texas Hold'em merch is going crazy. It's big. Selfmade713.com. That's SLFMADE 713.com. And y'all get y'all some of the new merch. Album tomorrow at 11 p.m. Central. 25 Summers featuring some of the hottest. And the Cypher video is out tomorrow. The Big Texas Cypher video. Y'all download, subscribe, stream that tomorrow. I love y'all. The podcast is Texans. What's up?
Yes, sir.
Don't mess with Texas.
Thank y'all, boys.
You have a good one, man.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Lil Keke, for coming on. But let's get to why we're here, fellas. Some more Texans talk. This press conference that just happened, like from the presser that we seen yesterday.
Okay, talking about the coaches.
Anything you want. Like what excites you?
Well, something like VT mentioned earlier, just the way these guys talk like grown men. And the way CJ talks, like the way he talks is the way I want him to command the offense. He talk, we listen, the players listen, they're getting behind him and everything. I like that. I like how coach said, we're not going to give anything to him. He's got to earn it. I like that as well. So far with the little footage that we're able to see, I like what I'm seeing out there. I'm loving the 713 connection. I'm hoping to see that more. I know a lot of fans are getting happy that Davis Mills is getting those reps. It just OTA guys. Don't get too happy about that. Just OTAs. It ain't training camp or preseason yet. But this year
people fail to realize last year Rex Burkhead was our starting running back at this time. So just calm down there, fellas.
So this year is way better than the previous years on questions, on more fans, more like entertained. Like we're more thirsty for what's going on in OTAs this year than we was last year. And I could tell by looking down the timeline, looking through the chats, how more fans want to know what's going on. So that's already a plus. Without them guys even saying anything. So that part right there, I like. But I kind of like that the Davis, the Dameon Pierce talk is getting a little heated right there, between him and Singletary, because I still think Singletary is running back one, but other guys beg to differ. But last year he looked good because we didn't have good running backs, so he's going to look good. But I mean, that's another talk on a different day. But that's my take on it.
All right, BT.
One of the best parts about the press conference was CJ Stroud's response to the question of how do you feel about taking reps with the twos and not the ones? And he specifically said, it's not about whether I'm with the ones or with the twos. It's about learning how everyone runs their routes. We're learning how Nico runs their routes. We're learning how Tank runs his routes. He said that him and Tank at the hotel were working on plays, looking at the playbook and talking about, how they can foster a better connection. The same thing that I said about his initial press conference, where I thought that he was very mature, it's the same thing that I'm going to say again in this press conference, that, you could try to rattle him and say, shouldn't you have the first reps, you're the second overall pick. And he's like, no, I'm used to working for everything I have, and I'll work for this too. So something about CJ Stroud, man. I mean, everyone that watches this podcast or follows me on Twitter knows that AR was my guy. But I got to tell you, man, CJ Stroud, every single time he talks to the media, it just makes them like him more and more and more. I'm not necessarily the biggest religious guy. I don't talk about God a lot, but God is important. And it's nice to have someone that, in my belief, that he's being genuine, right? You got a lot of athletes that always talk about God and stuff. And you can tell that they're, transparently, that they don't necessarily mean what they say. And I'm not calling out names. I just think that you can tell. But I think that with CJ Stroud,
Mr. VTA, I got a question on that comment you just said.
Oh,
so
okay.
What's the difference with CJ talking about God and Jack Easterby talking about God?
Well, that's actually a decent question. Well, I think when I hear Jack Easterby talking about God, I really just feel like he's almost just playing people when he talks about it, versus where CJ Stroud, because I know his history as well, I know that when he talks about being quote, scarred and battle tested, I know he really was, being almost homeless, trying to always have to fight for what you have and succeeding, the adversity that he's had throughout his life and dealing with his father not being there, the adversity of, multiple times, how many people did he have to beat out to keep that starting job in Ohio State? And he did every single time, all the things that he dealt with. And when he talks about it and says that what got him through there was his relationship with God and stuff, I believe it. Could I be naive? Perhaps, but I don't think I'm wrong about this. I really do think he's being honest and truthful and being transparent and honestly wearing his emotions on his sleeve. And I like it. And I think he does it in a mature way, as opposed to wearing your emotions on your sleeve and crying about something. No, he looks at it as a positive. He looks at hardship and says, I can overcome it.
Yeah. I can agree with you. You never know what Jack used to be. I mean, he probably say he had too many baby mamas just for the sake of it. So, it's crazy. I had to say I love D'Amico Ryan. The whole press conference, D'Amico Ryan. I get it. Yes, a lot of them were, yes man answers. But what were you supposed to tell him? What was he supposed to say? No, Davis Mills is our starter. No, CJ Stroud is the guy. Come on, guys. He's a coach. You can't just a first year coach of that. But I think he knocked it out of the park. So Lil Keke said, I'm excited. I'm pumped. This presser just made it even more. I'm ready for training camp, and training camp is when?
What is it? The 11th of June?
The end of July, right? Usually end of July, because like the rookies report, and then the veterans end of July, and then 2 weeks later is the first preseason
Is
game.
it? Because I remember seeing the 11th. Is it July 11th?
It's something. I'm not sure, but I know it's usually in July. Then a couple of weeks later is the first preseason game.
I know it's right around the Madden release, right? It's training camp and then Madden couple weeks later. So you might be right. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. But I know a lot of people are worried about the OTAs, like who didn't show up. You know, they're worried about Mechie, already saying that he's injury prone. Guys, calm down. Saying like, why is Laremy Tunzel not showing up to OTA? Guys, he's what, year 8? Like, there's no reason for him to come. It would be nice, yes, but is there any reason for him to be there? Like, chill out, fellas. Like, this is not the time to be beggar and choosers.
I would say I obviously don't have any issues with Laremy Tunsil not being there because he's essentially, what does he fucking need to be at OTAs for?
Right,
But,
exactly.
But what I would say is I would have hoped that Dalton Schultz and Sheldon Rankins, for different reasons, would have been there because I think that CJ does need to work on that relationship with Dalton Schultz, and hopefully they are just not at OTAs, but hopefully like they're having some sort of communication. I don't know. And Sheldon Rankins, just because, you know, his last great season was in 2018. So in my opinion, getting more help before the start of the season would be great help because I think he's going to be our lead defensive tackle.
Right? Now, didn't Dalton show up to one day of OTAs, or did he miss out?
He hasn't showed up to OTAs.
I thought I saw somewhere where CJ Stroud threw to him, so I must have been.
Aaron Wilson
No, that was TQ.
Oh, was it cute? Okay.
Yeah, Aaron Wilson said that Dalton Schultz did not report to OTAs. I mean, it's voluntary; he doesn't have to. But I'm simply saying I would have preferred him to because I think that, and I've said this before, that Dalton Schultz is going to be a major dude on third downs. Like, he's going to utilize Dalton Schultz to convert on third downs. Where we didn't have that guy last year, so Davis Mills basically always had to throw to Rex Burkhead. Right. Dalton Schultz would be that dude, and he'll be able to convert on third downs, which is what he did a lot for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, but I don't think he need to be there for them to get a connection. I mean, because playing a tight end role, run you 5 yards, turn around, you know, just pick your spot. So I don't think he needs to be there. Now, we need those receivers and him to get on the same page, but I think Dalton will be okay. I think he'd be fine.
I mean, listen, if he wasn't there, I'm not going to hate at him. But even CJ Stroud said in the press conference that one of the things that he wanted to do in OTAs is learn how, and he mentioned Dalton Schultz by name, saying he wanted to learn how Dalton Schultz runs his routes. He said the same thing about Tank and Robert Woods and Nico. So obviously Dalton Schultz is not there, so he can't work with them physically. I can only assume that they are communicating, however. That's all. I'm not hating on Dalton Schultz. I still think he's going to be a baller this year. I'm just saying I wish him and Rankins were at OTAs. And I understand they don't have to be. It's voluntary and they're vets. But I just wish they were. That's all. I
did see I guess you call it a stat or whatever you like to call it, that I really liked. CJ Stroud threw the ball 9 times. And out of that 9 times, 4 of them was the Tank Dell. He caught 3 of them. So I love, like Crenshaw said, I love that name, Crenshaw. I'm going to roll with it. I love the 713 connection. You know, so hopefully they can keep up and just build a chemistry. I mean, CJ Stroud, one of them here in Houston for a reason. So hopefully that connection is strong.
And if, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was about to talk about another topic, but go ahead, VT.
So I just want to so first of all, shout out to DJ Bienemy, who has actually been really great on reporting on what's going on in OTAs and stuff. And so he informed us that even though Davis Mills had the first team reps, that most of Davis Mills' throws were mostly checkdowns. But the longest successful pass was Stroud to Tank Dell, was about 20 yards. Jimmy Ward made a great play, athletic play on a pass to Robert Woods. So we're seeing that Jimmy Ward is up in there. He's doing well. And so far from what we've seen very, very little. Some teams like the Panthers are allowing play-by-play reporting by the media, but the Texans are not, as unfortunately a lot of other teams don't allow. So we're not getting the same type of information that we are getting from, say, Bryce Young, which we got information of, like, for example, that Chin did a batted tip to pass, right? We're not getting all that information, but from the information that DJ Bienemy is allowed to say, if you're not following him and you're interested about what's going on, you should shoot him a follow, because he has been putting out videos, pictures, and content about what's going on. And he's a friend of the show.
Chris, what were you gonna say?
Yes, he's a friend of the show. I was gonna say, basically, who's gonna play on the other side of Will Anderson Jr.
Look, I'm gonna say something, and BT's probably gonna leave the podcast and never come back. I think it's gonna be Javion Clowney when we pick him up. Run stopper, experience. I know his character sucks. I know he threw a fit last year because he didn't get re-signed and he wanted to quit the team. But he's experienced. He can teach Will Anderson. He can teach Dylan Horton. He can teach Henry Tututu. So as a guy that can teach great stuff on the field to help their progression speed up, and especially the run stop. That's what we need. So I'm okay with it. I know BT is like, no, but
hell no to the no.
Yeah.
Listen, the thing is, culture is important. Like, I know that's some sort of weird word that we all use now, and it really doesn't have a lot of meaning, but it should. And what the culture that we're building is the opposite of an energy vampire, right? Like what D'Amico says, no more energy vampires. And you do not want to have someone here that when we're rebuilding an entire organization from the ground up, from the staffing, from the players, from the front office, and have someone here that refused to play where they asked him to play. And it wasn't just a Ravens game. Then in a practice, they asked him to move in the inside, and he said no again. Then he went to the press, badmouthed the organization, saying that Myles Garrett, who was obviously their star dude on defense, right? Like, you're not going to give Myles Garrett the reps. Complained that he was getting reps because of his name. Like, you really want someone to be jealous of fucking Myles Garrett? What do you think? Who do you think you are? We've got Will Anderson. I think that it's going to be Hughes on the other side. I think that's a logical choice, at least at the beginning. But I do think that's going to be rotational heavy. I think they're going to try out Grenard there. Like I said, I think there'll be Hughes. And I think we drafted Horton, so he's going to see some reps. So I don't think they're going to pick up Clowney. I think that, listen, no team has picked him up so far. If he was going to get picked up, I think it would have happened already. I don't think the Texans are looking at him. I think that they do believe culture is important. And when you refuse to play for a team, and you're also not a young dude that they can kind of change your mindset. You're an older dude. I don't think he fits here at all.
I agree with you what you said, but the only reason why I say bringing him, because like you said, D'Amico Ryans. I think D'Amico Ryans would set the cell straight, and if it doesn't work out, all they gotta do is cut him. You don't have to make the 53-man team. Like if he does not want to work with what we got, what's it gonna cost you? You know what I mean?
Just depends how much he affects that locker room during that time. Like, does he infect? Like,
I just don't see 2-3 months of him being there. I don't expect him to affect, because Cleveland, he was there a year and a half. That's a long time to affect the locker room. 3 months, I don't see. Again, D'Amico's that dude, like, right? I mean, he demands respect. He demands the locker room, and I just don't like I said. If he sees that being an energy vampire, kick rocks.
Well, let me ask you a question. He's obviously come out and said that he wouldn't mind coming back to Houston, right? So then, why haven't they picked him up?
Maybe for what you're saying, maybe he doesn't want him. Maybe they don't want him. Maybe they are trying to. Maybe he's wanting too much money. There's a lot of variables we don't know yet. So, I mean, I think we should need him on the roster, at least try him out. That, like I said, that run defense, it was terrible last year. Anything to improve that, you got to at least try it, right? I mean, that's the only thing you can do. Chris, I see you up there getting your thinking cap on. What do you think?
I don't think he's any good, but it doesn't hurt to sign him for the right price. We need as many bodies out there on the defensive line, because that was the weakest position on the team. not offensive line, defensive line. So put him out there for my favorite word, competition, and let's see what he can do. Maybe he is hungry. Maybe trying to get another contract, another 2 or 3 year deal before he gets out. But the room, that's possible. But if those guys we might do summer, then they should be on take them down. So I'm hoping coach has that father won't be like guys we can get on that line. So
I didn't catch half of what you said, Chris. So it sounded like you were breaking up.
Yeah, it sounded a little in the matrix there.
Yeah, sounded like you're doing your best impression of DJ Screw.
I will say that I agree with Matt Perez there, because he's basically saying the exact thing that I'm saying, is that he's going to be the cancer in the locker room, and I can understand what you guys are saying, like it doesn't hurt, but I just think that when you're rebuilding, you're almost you're at that level where a thread where like one bad move like that can tear up a locker room, especially if you start infecting. It's like a virus, right? Bad attitudes are like a virus. If you got one dude that's a bad attitude and then all of a sudden they're having a bad practice and then he infects, this team ain't shit, and talking like that, it can really be a big issue.
I would agree with you if we did not have, again, the coaches that we have or the players that we have. Each guy that we just drafted was okay, not each guy, but several of them were team captains. Now they're not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, man, this guy's right." I mean, let's get mad for no reason. I think they're going to step up, and I think they're going to say, "Hey, coach, we need to get rid of this dude. He's an asshole. He's an ass clown. Like no reason to have him here. Kick rocks." And again, I believe in DeMeco Ryans and Nick Cassera at this point. Like those are, and that's probably why. Like you said, why he hasn't been signed. That's probably why they're probably like, maybe we don't take the risk on him. I just think, like Crenshaw said, why he was being DJ Screw over there. I think competition, you need it, and also what we've been saying this whole time. Yes, it's great having a young roster, but you need veteran presence.
Right.
And I get you got Jerry Hughes, but I mean, is Jerry Hughes really the veteran presence you need? I think he had at least one more, right? And so that's the guy. He also can help the linebacker crew. He plays some linebacker with Wade Phillips. So it's to the point where you got to be a mad scientist and just kind of, does this work? If not, if it blows up in your face, then just throw it in the trash. Get rid of it. I don't think 3 months, which might be what he's there, I don't think that's going to affect the locker room. And if he's here the whole year, I think DeMeco Ryans is going to have a pit bull choke chain on him. As soon as he says something, he's going to pull that motherfucker and have him yelping. So, but I've been wrong before, so who knows? Been wrong. As you asked my old lady, I've been wrong many of times. All right. Well, anything else, fellas, before we wrap it up?
Well, yeah, I'll ask one more question because I know that we spent a decent time on Clowney, but just from the receiver's perspective, obviously we saw stuff from OTAs. This discussion has been going on about Nico Collins. It looks to me like he lost even more weight again. Obviously, he's not going to do another weigh-in, but did any of you see the clips from him? Did he look like he lost a lot of weight to you? And what are you expecting out of Nico Collins this year?
Go ahead,
it could be because he ain't got no pads on, so it's really hard to tell if he lost the weight. I need to see him with pads on and stand by somebody like, oh, okay, yeah, damn, he did lose weight. I'm expecting him to either get cut or not do shit this year. That's my expectations. I'm done with the guy. I can't stand you on the sideline more than in the games.
So I'm on the opposite end. Like I am done. with the injuries. Like, we don't need another Will Fuller. If you can't play a full season, you're right. Kick rocks. But when he is in, he is improving. I mean, he was having a decent year with a shit quarterback that couldn't get him the ball. And when he did get him the ball, it was either up here or down here. So you give him a good quarterback, you give him a new system, you try it out. I mean, what's it going to hurt? He's on a rookie. Crenshaw's favorite thing, rookie deals. Make it cheap, baby. Make it cheap. So you just give it a try. I don't think you cut him quite yet, but I mean, if that's the one guy you got to get rid of, okay. I mean, like, rookie deal.
Noah Brown.
Are you high on Noah Brown, Crenshaw?
Yes, man. I don't think what he did last year with the Cowboys was a fluke. I think this guy can
I'm
really
high
play.
on Noah Brown too.
I think this guy really can play. I think he could come in and take Nico Collins' position. I ain't saying he'll be wide receiver.
And that's fine with me. Like,
but
I'm great with it.
PT.
I just think I get it. I mean, everybody's disappointed because we could have had St. Brown over Nico Collins, but I do see flashes of improvement. I mean, his separation did get better last year. His route running did get better last year. He just couldn't stay on the fucking field, and that's the one thing as a football player you have to have, right? You have to be on that field to produce. So that's
First and foremost, right?
Well, it looks like our wide receiver core is going to be like the Rams, you know, they had a bunch of guys. They had before Cooper Kupp, you know, Kupp, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks. It was just a bunch of guys, and they made it work with a strong run game. It looks like that's what's going to happen to us this year, and that's fine with me. You know,
yeah. I mean, Sean McVay runs that kind of somewhat type of the same offense.
Yeah,
so.
we can get a bunch of guys with 700 yards, and then our tight end could be our leading receiver. Hey, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I just gotta ask then: are you higher on Noah Brown than Xavier Hutchinson?
No, I think Xavier Hudson is the future.
Yes. I was about to say,
I just
as
don't,
of now, Noah Brown.
but I would put a Noah Brown above him because he's been in a real NFL game.
Exactly.
But Hutchinson, I mean, who knows?
I think that's
he could come in the preseason like, well, damn, okay, this guy.
He could be the next.
He should have won earlier than the 6th round. You know what I'm saying?
He could be this year's Dameon Pierce. Like, oh fuck, we really got this guy.
Right. Listen, my prediction for him is that I think he actually takes Nico's job within the 4th or 5th week, and that's even if Nico stays healthy. But I really think that Hutchinson could work his way up. Maybe I'm wrong about the week, but I think he could be a strong wide receiver too. I think he has lots of talent. I do think a lot of people judge him poorly because of that one Texas game where he had that critical drop. But realize he had the surest hands in the goddamn draft, less than a 4% drop rate. The dude has wins contested catches. He has a great catch radius. His only knock on him is that he's not a 4.4 guy. Doesn't have that speed, right? But if you have Tank Dell out there, you have Tank Dell being your speed guy, but then you have Xavier Hutchinson being your
possession guy. Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that works.
And now that we said something about Tank Dell and these receivers, to all the Texan fans and NFL coaches, couch coaches, armchair GMs, I want to let y'all know something. If you don't know what take the top off of a defense is, please do not use it in a sentence. Please do not say, "Oh, well, he can't take." He's fast, but he can't take the top of a defense. Quit it. Just shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Thank you. Sorry, I had to get that out my chest.
Well, yeah, if Hudson could become help me out, VT. What's that guy that played with the Jets back in the early '90s?
Wayne Shavert?
6th round pick. No, wasn't him. Terrence Mathis. I don't know if you guys remember him.
Oh yeah.
This guy had 4 1,000-yard seasons, Pro Bowl, 6th round pick. So you never know. You never know. You know, but like I agree with VT. You know, they question his hands and everything, but this guy is money in the bank. I was high on this guy. You know, last year during our pods, I was always bringing him up and everything. So I'm glad we got him, and I'm glad we got Mechie, because those were my 2 wide receivers right there. I always thought Mechie was better than J-Mo. People call me crazy. I like, well, damn, you know, he showed more than J-Mo, but J-Mo's had that one great year, and people just fell in love. Same thing they're doing with the guy at Ohio State. I think he's good, but
JSN.
yeah, no, not JSN. The guy that's there now,
Marvin Harrison
Marvin
Jr.
Harris Jr. I think he's good, but what makes him better than the other guys on the side of him? What's his name? Ibuku, or I can't think his damn
Yeah,
name right now.
W.
Yeah, W. Like, what makes him better than him? It just I don't know, but
I mean,
we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell.
the discussion really there is that W plays a lot of slot. That's really what the difference is, right? Because you got to do that can play on the outside, and if you got to do this playing on just slot, that's what a lot of people think is the difference, right? Now, I actually do not think that the whole just a slot thing in college matters. AJ Brown was quote unquote just a slot in college. Justin Jefferson was just a slot in college. Like the whole thing is like when you're on a stacked team, one of those dudes that could play on the outside is going to end up playing the slot. And the other thing is that just because you play on the slot doesn't mean you can't be successful. Cooper Kupp, the year that the Rams won the Super Bowl, he played 87% of the time in the goddamn slot. So like I think a lot of fans diminish slot receivers and consider he can only play the slot. Well, guess what? Slot's important, man. Slots a lot of times when you run those slants that you need someone because you're open and no one else is getting open, especially when like on man coverage and stuff, So like I think that slot receivers get a bad rap. You obviously all heard me about how a lot of fans just don't give a crap about investing in the O-line and don't care about getting dudes to help the O-line out. I think the same is true for slot receivers. Stop hating on slot receivers. Just like I said, stop hating on O-linemen. Give them their love.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Mathis Crenshaw. You know who I'm not saying this is going to be.
I already know what you're gonna say.
What?
Don't say Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown, baby. 6th round.
I knew it, man.
Oh, motherfucker. Come on, bro. I mean, wasn't fast. People didn't think he was going to be a good receiver. I mean, got catch radius.
Like, get open. He
check.
Gets
check.
open.
Right. Doesn't drop the ball. Check. Like, look, I'm telling you, preseason comes around, and for some reason Hutchinson doing the kick return, and he kicks the kicker in the forehead. I'm calling him Antonio Brown Jr. I'm just it's a wrap. Like, I got it. Look, if you can just get a third of the receiver that Antonio Brown was in Hutchinson, this is a success, right? Like, Antonio Brown's a Hall of Fame. I mean, he's a little nuts in the head, but he's a Hall of Fame receiver. So if you get a third out of that in the 6th round pick, I'm sold. Nick Casario, thank you. But yeah, I'm excited. All right, fellas. Anything else?
I could go on forever, but I think we've been over our time for today.
Yeah, I mean, great cause, right? I mean, when else do we have got Lil Keke on the show?
Oh no, I'm not complaining. Good
yeah. Obviously, we're gonna get him back on week 6, so we need to get on the calendar and mark that off. But all right, well, in the wise words, Crenshaw, the worst part of the show. It's the end. All right, Crenshaw, I'll let you kick it off. Where will you find you at?
You can find me at 5th Ward, Crenshaw, everywhere.
Everywhere. BT, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Brown Chubby Bear. I'm on Twitter Spaces a lot, so if you want to talk a little bit more ball, come on and join me. Me and Leo do our recording spaces.
Pause. Go ahead.
Me and Leo do our recording space a couple times a week. We'll likely be doing one tomorrow night. So you can follow my social or Leo's, which is at Leo is Forgiven. We upload those to our podcast. So if you're just watching this and you don't listen to us, subscribe to our podcast because that's where we put that up. And my latest article is on fanbattlesports.com. It's all about the O-line. I've been preaching about, that we have invested a ton in the O-line, and it's a good article. I think you should check it out if you're curious about how much we actually invest in the O-line and how much we're depending on it. But that's where you can find me, guys.
All right, yeah. So talking on the spaces, you talking like hairy balls, small balls, big balls?
All types.
Just kidding, man. Yeah, you can find me at A1 Day One Texans. Like BT, I'm writing a couple articles of NFL whole, doing some division prediction by each division. So check that out at fanbattlesports.com. We got some great stuff coming on, so definitely check that out. And you can also see me pissing off Jaguar, Titans, and Colts fans. I forgot the other ones. They're so trash. I forgot about it. Colts fans off on the AFC South fan battle this Sunday, where we have special guest Megan Hall, who's sadly a Colts fan, but we won't judge her too much. And of course, you can find the podcast on the Texas Fan Battle Network website and everywhere at Texas Fan Battle. So make sure you check us out there. Until next week, guys, have a wonderful Memorial Day and a great weekend. Also, I forgot, I promised I would. I want to shout out to my daughter, Madison Brooks, on graduating 8th grade. Next year to be a freshman. So quit growing up. Yeah, quit growing up. Make me feel old. Make me feel like I'm BT. So you knock it off. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT.